like Goretober are the reason why people think artists are weird. Okay, another day, more stupid art drama in the art community like usual. Again, this is to absolutely nobody's surprise, but this time they're going after the October events, art events that's going on, you know, the OG Inktober. I don't think anyone's harassing that, but people are going after the more explicit media such as Kinktober and Goretober, which I really just want these new gen commentary artists who disregard history to just self-deport from the art community. Like, we don't need you here, we don't want you here. I just find it so crazy that the one thing where you can express yourself in any way is now getting policed by people who haven't even been in this community, or not even just this community, haven't been on Earth for more than 14 years. But before I get into this, I want you guys to like the video and subscribe, and I'll get straight into it now. I don't like long intros, and I just really want to get into this because this is actually pissing me off, man. So you can imagine my surprise when I see this. Things like Goretober are the reason why people think artists are weird. This whole statement is just wrong in general, and I just want to go into that first. I want to preface this by saying that Inktober is a thing that people do monthly. It's basically where artists have a prompt each day to draw something each day, and it's like a little prompt, and they draw something based on the prompt. Now that's just Inktober. Different people make different lists that were inspired by the Inktober concept, but like they're just different themes, such as Goretober, where people make horror art. So to get into this, most non-artists do not know what Goretober is, do not know what Inktober is, do not know what all these tobers are. They don't know what these things are, okay? They may see it offhandedly, they may read it off of some like thing or whatever, but they do not care, okay? Most non-artists, aka people who aren't in Artistlandia, they just consume the art. They look at the art, they're like, I like this art, and they like the post. What I even think is funnier is that a lot of artists don't even know what Inktober is themselves. I'm gonna even be for real. Like, a lot of artists do not even know what Inktober is. Inktober and Goretober and all that sort of stuff is very much like an online digital artist thing that are usually like in the Western sphere rather than anywhere else. So like most artists, traditional artists, painters, they have no clue what this is either, okay? A lot of them don't. And the thing about this video is that they're trying to argue that the greater population sees artists as like these weirdos because of that. No, it has to do with artists and their antisocial behavior. It is one in a million, one in a rarity to find an artist that ain't got some sort of antisocial behavior, some sort of antisocial mechanism somewhere lodged in their mind. Like, it's really something that happens a lot with artists. They're weird, okay? I'm gonna be real, because, and that's not a bad thing, okay? That's what makes their art amazing. That, like, some of the best artists were antisocial, some of the best artists were mentally ill, okay? And that's just a fact, okay? That's just a fact. We gotta come closer to reality, guys. We gotta come closer to our roots and admit that some of us are just mentally ill. Francisco de Goya, Vincent van Gogh, Edvard Munch, Frida Kahlo, and Mac Rothko all suffered from mental illness and antisocial behavior. They are some of the representatives of the art community. And we don't even need to look at the representatives to look at like the stereotype and truth, okay? I was that kid, okay? I was that art kid at the back of the class just drawing quietly and minding my own business and not talking to people. I was antisocial. I had antisocial behavior, and so many other artists that I know did too. You're not normal if you're an artist. Of course, that's an overstatement, and I'm joking for the most part, but you know that a lot of people are like that. A lot of artists are like that, and I was seen as weird for that. I was seen as weird because I wouldn't be playing around. I wouldn't be doing all this stuff with other people. I would just be drawing. I would just sit around draw. So no, I don't think that the greater public's perception on artists has anything to do really with what the digital online art community is doing, because mostly people who consume art are not really looking into those spaces. They may see the art coming out of Inktober, they may see it, but they don't know what Inktober is. They're just consuming the art that they like to see. My counter argument is just that the greater public has that stereotype about artists because like it's something tangible. They've talked to artists before, they've seen artists before. If they had a weird experience with them, then that would just be like, you know, the stereotype is true, blah. Like, the stereotype was true about me, okay? So I can't even sit here and talk and be like, no, the stereotype is wrong. Like, no. Of course, like, I improved, I got better, you know, I decided to dedicate some time to, like, talking to people, but, like, when I was a kid, bro, like, the artistry really does something to you. Getting off that history lesson, a little bit of my backstory, why are we shaming people for making horror art in Goretober? Like, hello, fork found in the kitchen, Goretober, how many times does it need to be said to you, Goretober? And this is why I might have to bring it back to history, because again, we're just ignoring the thousands of years of art that has gore in it, that has injury in it. Like a few years ago when I saw a video about how the Western world was turning into an idiocracy, I thought that they were joking, but like this really isn't a joke anymore. Like literally, it's so easy to find these sort of art pieces. It's so easy, it's literally a part of your classes consequences, yet you don't even know that this exists? You need to get your ass into homeschooling because it seems that the public school system has failed you. And for me, I'm just all about freedom of expression, all that sort of stuff. Even though I might not like what a lot of people draw, I can acknowledge that if their stuff gets taken away just because I don't like it, then all of our stuff is basically up for free grabs, up for free censorship, and I don't like that. And the thing about it is just that you should be able to separate fiction from reality, man. Like, y'all coming up with the same arguments that people were trying to ban video games for. Like, oh no guys, I just saw a Roman art painting depicting war and now I just want to slice people up. Like, what are we on about? I'm not gonna sit here and not acknowledge people who are doing Goretober because they're sort of like into it and stuff like that, but even if they're like a full-grown adult and they're not doing anything illegal, why would I care? Like, genuinely, why would I care? And with the Kingtober stuff, which again, these are all fictional characters, they're not real people. There's people in these comment sections saying, I'm gonna report all these people who do this trend to the police. I'm gonna report them to the FBI. Like, literally the FBI begs people not to report this type of stuff because it diverts their attention from actual victims, because they're thinking that this type of stuff has a victim, which it does not. It's fictional content, it's fictional media. These sort of kinks, these sort of art pieces, all of them have existed in the past. They are in writing, they are in art, they are in physical media, they're in paintings, okay? I mostly just don't get how people can just vehemently ignore history and ignore the fact that this stuff has existed for hundreds and hundreds of years. But not just that, be so willing to give up their right to free speech and being able to express yourself in the way you want, because they don't care which way you do it, okay? The best videos I saw from people were people encouraging others to take this topics that are mentioned very seriously and to take them with grace, okay? And that's something I can appreciate, is somebody not saying, oh, we should report these people to the FBI, oh, we should censor all this media. No, they're saying, you know, I just encourage you, and I would like if a lot of more people took it with a little bit of grace, because it is really some serious topics that a lot of these prompts go over. On another note, I just think the Puritanism is just getting out of hand. This is something that we've only seen in like the COVID era, coming from the COVID era, 5 years, 10 years within the making of all these opinions and all these ideas, okay? The thing about it is that the greater society has just ignored these people, thought they were like, you know, childish and all this sort of stuff, but they've really taken over a lot of online spaces, especially like the art community space. Like, these people have just taken up all these spaces and just have just been comfortable policing this online community that they shouldn't be able to police. They shouldn't be allowed to police because they don't have an understanding of history, right? And I think it really just has to do with like the growing up of people. A lot of people have grown up from that position where they were like, no, you can't draw stuff like that, and then they grow up and then they're like, wait, now I'm saying the same thing to these kids. Like, I just think that like when these people grow up, they'll soon realize that the position that they have is not really the greatest one, because when you're an adult, you want to do what you want to do. You want to do whatever you want to do, and you have that sort of like critical thinking skill. You have that critical thinking skill to not like need someone else to morally police you like a parent, okay? There's a lot of content, there's a lot of media out there that you may want to just read or you may want to see that is not the best, that it even may be romanticized, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you like it. You just want to have the opportunity to see more of the world and what people make, what people consume. Because you're gonna have a job, you're gonna have things happening with your life, you're gonna have to pay bills. At some point, you're gonna have to just stop caring about this stuff, because only really privileged people can really talk about this stuff with like such certainty, like, oh, you gotta get rid of this, it's so bad. Like, come on, it's so performative. Anyway, that's all I really gotta say about this topic, and I'll see y'all in the next video, and have fun with Inktober, Goretober, Kingtober, whatever y'all are gonna do, have fun.